Greetings. Hello. Not should say, but Hawa. Shalom. Greetings. Greetings. I'm going to do some singing bowls. So if you're listening, you might want to turn it down just a little bit. Okay. So today I'm going to have a little background music playing. Hopefully it just helps with the mood. Okay, so today many people are celebrating a patriarchal holiday. So this morning and this video are dedicated to the goddess. And today's goddess is going to be Tiamat. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the 9-day calendar and where the energy is with that. But we're starting with Tiamat. If you don't know, there is some information out there about Tiamat. She's considered a Mesopotamian goddess, the creation of all. She's also known as the dragon, and she is considered a piece of this planet, and if not a piece of this planet, a part of the sky. I looked in several books looking for some information on Tiamat and found information in the Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. So I'm going to share some of that with you all because it's just cool. And we have been, well, myself, and I think many, have been programmed into this holiday. And one of the things I have recognized in a lot of the more truth opening and truth-telling channels, we still have the wording of Christ consciousness, which in relation to how we are taught about this being, we compile in our minds a way of being. Well, the word crystal and the spelling of it is where we get the names. So with crystal, if you sound out each part of it, k, r, I, s, t, e, l, a, crystalla, we have both Christ and Allah in the name, though the energy is feminine. We give the name crystal to girls, to women, to the feminine. So within this name is actually bringing the crystalline energy into this earth. To me, there is a patriarchal relation to that name, and the goal for me is to, for myself, shift away from the patriarchal worship and the patriarchal conditionings. Okay, so with that, we move on to Tiamat. And I've done a little bit of sharing in other videos where I talk about Amput and Lilith and Marduk. And this goes back to Tiamat, and the mother of all the gods, the mother of all creation, and her different names that she has been given. Okay, Tiamat. Bear with me as I read it. Thanks for being here. Sumero-Babylonian goddess mother, Daya Mater, from whose formless body the universe was born at creation, personification of the deep, or Tuhu Bohu, which we can look up. It's capital letters T-O-H-U, capital B-O-H-U, Buhu or Bohu. Babylonians later claimed their municipal god Marduk, Tiamat's son. He divided her into the heavens above and the earth below, as did Marduk's imitator, the biblical god. But the original division was made by the mother herself, as in the ancient Phoenician myth of her Aegean counterpart, Erimon. In derivative Hebrew myths, Tiamat became Tehom, the deep, and this is how she appears in the Bible, Genesis 1:2. Patriarchal writers forgot that the deep was a personified womb, a Middle Eastern version of Kali, whose being before creation was formless. Most creation myths incorporated the idea of formlessness in the darkness before the birth that brought light, and the splitting of the mother's body, so she became both heaven and earth. The Bible's account is based on the same archetype. And in what I have learned and was told by the planet is part of Tiamat. And then so we have here where it talks about the heaven and earth. This is also the mother of all creation. This is the great abyss. This is the deep womb. This is the dark, quote unquote, the dark mother. In both lack of quote unquote light and in how she is depicted in a living form, meaning brown, dark brown skin or dark brown complexion. Continuing. In Egypt, Tiamat was Timu or Timut, oldest of deities, mother of the archaic Enad, or of four dual female elements: water, darkness, night, and eternity. She was also Nun, Nanet, or Manu, the great fish who gave birth to the universe and the gods. In repeated cycles of becoming, she periodically swallowed up both gods and universes and gave them rebirth, like Kali Ma. Tiamat's firstborn child seems to have been a duplicate of herself, Mumu. And to me, this is also where we get Lemuria and the land of Mu, translated either churning or mother. The combination recalled the ancient notion that solid earth was made from churning of the primordial fluid, like making butter from milk. Some myths gave Tiamat a male consort, Absu, similar to Jupiter Pluviosus, a father heaven whose job it was to fertilize mother's abyss with seminal rain. But he was not her superior, not even her equal. Even in the chaotic conditions before creation, Tiamat was the true source of life. Her consort was subordinate, not even very necessary. Various myths said Tiamat alone produced the fluid of creation, which was not semen, but her menstrual blood, flowing continuously for 3 years and 3 months. It is its great reservoir was the Red Sea, comparable to Kali's ocean of blood, the eastern shore of which is still called Tiamat by the Arabs. Babylonians said the god Marduk divided his mother Tiamat into two parts, upper and lower waters. Likewise, the Jewish god divided, quote unquote, divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which are above the firmament. Genesis 1:7. The Jewish god also divided the Red Sea, which was likened to Tiamat herself. The idea of dividing waters was not original with the Jews. Goddesses did it before gods. The Hindu goddess Bindamati, mother of life, divided the waters of the Ganges. The goddess Isis divided the waters of the rivers Phaedrus to cross dry shod. Even an insignificant Egyptian wizard named Zazamonk divided the waters of a lake to retrieve a courtesan's lost pendant. And if you don't know what a courtesan is, I just learned this. This is what has turned into what people call like concubines or escorts. But back then they were highly revered and highly regarded women. And oftentimes considered healers. Yahweh's miracle on behalf of the Israelites was fairly common in contemporary lore. By dividing Tiamat, Marduk established the diameter, or the horizon. And this is also where we get the story of Demeter being Tiamat's daughter. The horizon, which was the Greek version of Tiamat's name, meaning goddess mother. We will say a diameter divides a whole circle. Though Marduk was supposed to have slain his mother, the ocean of blood, he still maintained the menstrual calendar in Babylon, celebrating Sabbats and months of the year according to the moon's phases. And from what the story I was shown was that through that creation blood, Eve, the daughter of patriarchy, created. So we will also honor all the mothers at this time, because all the mothers come from the Great Mother. Modern scholars tend to ignore Tiamat's maternal creatress nature, describing her as nothing more than a dragon of chaos, which is still quite a lot, slain by Marduk. It is seldom, and from what is also the story, is she's never slain as a dragon and as something that was able to create life from her, say, severed body. She is always alive. She is always living. It is seldom emphasized that this was a myth of matricide, or that the goddess was the one who created the world. The goddess was the one who created the world. Some traditions indicate that Marduk's unaliving of his mother may have been motivated by jealousy, like Cain's unaliving of Abel. Mother Tiamat had overlooked Marduk and chosen another of her sons, and this is where it gets confusing, because the words, this is also in here, the Missing Secrets, the Women's Missing Secrets Encyclopedia, is that the wording that was used for son and father was suitor. It was actually a suitor would be the son, because the king and queen or the rulers were considered mother and father. And so the new suitor was considered a son, meaning a new son, a new suitor. So when this description talks about Tiamat choosing one of her sons to then be her lover, I'm guessing that this was actually mistranslated. I don't know exactly for sure, but that's what I'm guessing. As far as how it's perceived to us. Did she choose a suitor, or did she choose actually one of her own children? I don't think that's the case. You know what I mean? Okay. To be the consort and the king of the universe. So this is a side out of that story. She exalted among the gods her sons that she had born, Kingu, and made him greatest among them all, placed him on a throne, saying, by my charm and incantation I have raised thee to power among the gods. The dominion over all the gods I entrust to thee. Lofty thou shalt be, thou my chosen spouse. Great be thy name in all the world. She then gave him the tablets of destiny and laid them on his chest. So this is where she exalted among the gods her son that she had born. And then it says that my chosen spouse. Right? This is, I don't know. It's just confusing. And is it that she had born, as in meaning she created them? And how did, it used to be that men, in order to become king, needed to be uplifted and recognized by a queen, a feminine divine. Jealous, so, any input, please let me know. Jealous Marduk not only took Tiamat's life, he also deposed, castrated, and unalived Kingu, and made the first man on earth out of Kingu's blood, which tends to show that Kingu was once the name of the sacrificed god king whose blood had the feminine power to make life. Which, this is just, it's a little confusing. And so I kind of like the message she gave me. That's a little more, I think maybe for my mind and my perception is the way the world is now today, like how I can relate to it, because this is a little confusing. I guess unless we were able to get all the people involved in the story and be able to actually go back to that time and get the full story, which maybe she will, kindly grant to somebody, so that we can get a little more information. But it's just, you see what I'm saying, because the feminine power relies with Tiamat in this story. So did she teach him something? I think it is possible that these stories that have been handed down and have been interpreted, just like the Sybil Bible, the way that we're being taught it is in just like I was saying, like my download. It's the best way we can perceive it in the world we're living in today. Anyhow, okay. So that he used the blood and the feminine power to make life. Kingu was identified. I'll reread that because Jealous Marduk not only took Tiamat, but also Kingu's, and from his blood created the first man on earth. And then, which tends to show that Kingu was once the name of the sacrificed god king, whose blood had the feminine power to make the moon god of Mount Sinai. Apparently, he still had the tablets of the law given to him by Tiamat, as Mother Rhea gave sacred tablets of law to Minos on Mount Dictae. This is where we get dictation. For the Old Testament claims he passed them on to Moses. And then we have new information that Moses was feminine. So is it possible that even Mino, okay, we won't go into that. I'm just going to read this. And then we're almost done. In southern Arabia, the goddess was assimilated to Ishtar. The eyes of her idol, Tiamat, were said to flow with tears each year as she bewailed the death of Tammuz, which I think is another one of her godchildren. What's interesting is Tehama, let's see, it's Tahoma and Tehama. So Tehama is another name for Mount Shasta. Isn't that interesting? Because it says, the eyes of her idol were said to flow with tears each year. To flow with tears, is that lava? Or is it snow caps? Possibly. So, that's what is in this awesome book, The Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. In an opportunity to, we can use the solstice as part of the splitting of Tiamat, recognizing the Great Mother on both above and below, and the waters, because she is also known as the sea salt, or as the sea water, and that everything came from the sea water. Dragon, we're entering into in a few months, in February of 2024, we'll be entering into the moon calendar that is based in China and their pantheon way of practice. February is the beginning of the new moon year, and that will be of the dragon. So I'm doing this video today to basically say, welcome in, Great Mother. We're remembering you. This day is not about the patriarchy. This day is about the mothers, the matriarchy, and the great mothers who created all of this, in which we get to ritualize and participate in ways that may have not been the original intended, but we're still doing those practices with harvest, solstice, Yule, the tree, the giving of gifts. These all go back to not only American indigenous ways, but ways of the Great Mother. And this is all over. So, as we were saying, like, out with patriarchy is my intention. And so, this is a moment to recognize another Great Mother, Tiamat, our great waters, our great earth, and the mother of all gods. Okay, now I'm going to move into a little bit about the 9-day calendars and I think a little something else. I'll be right back, but it'll be right here for you guys. It will be no time pass for you guys. I'm already giggling, and I haven't even told you guys what planet it is on the 9-day calendar. You can probably guess. As today is Christmas Day, it's Saturn on the 9-day calendar, which would then relate to Saturnalia and all of, what is the, oh my gosh, you guys see that? What was that? What? That was kind of cool. Those look like a bunch of orbs. What? Maybe it was just poofy things that came out of the pillow I'm sitting in. But I'll rewatch. That's right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. You see that? Okay. I was like, that's cool, but also, what was that? That there was an okay. Well, I'm just gonna continue reading. That's kind of interesting. So, yes, on the 9-day calendar that I've deciphered, today would be Saturn's Day. Is this a coincidence? On the 9-day calendar, and then let's minus 13 days, which would be the Julian calendar, would be the the 12th. Is that right? Yeah. 25 minus 13. Yes, the 12th, which is a 3. And man, it's just so that would be like the 12 days of Christmas. Okay. 12th, even though we're 13 days away, we would go back 13 days, it would be the 12th. I mean, there's some energy happening in these other calendar dates when it comes to the numbers and when it comes to the planets. And I just watched a video last night that was talking about how, okay, I don't know. Are we being misguided with planet? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't feel like planets aren't real, but is that my programming and I want it? But anyways, the video I watched last night was talking about some pretty good points about the Earth possibly being flat, whereas I told you guys my basic opinion about that. It talked about the planets and how there aren't any. That's all fake. But we have we have stories of the Dogons who talk about it, and then stories in the Popol Vuh who talk about planets. But maybe I was looking for my thesaurus. And then also recently people are talking about how the stars match the Bible, the Civil Bible, which would make sense considering that the mothers were the first astronomers. I feel like I have a little more information to do. But when it comes to this and today, and we talk about Saturnalia, then did they just, where'd that come from? Interesting. But as I've recognized, Saturn is a feminine energy. So we have a triple representation with the unique influence of what we see outwardly in the world as far as today's celebration. Okay, and so we have also the moon's energy with it being a Monday, and then Saturn's energy. So, interestingly, I'm feeling like a sisterhood, a peaceful sisterhood with Saturn and the moon on this day specifically. Okay, and I wanted to bring in a goddess for the day. Oh, and I might also grab my I'm looking I'm looking for more brown goddesses for the winter. When you go on Google and that type of thing, a lot of them are related to Nordic groups, which is cool. I still like that. I like them all. I like all the goddesses. Yet it was tricky looking for somebody for the winter, and the closest was Oya because of the relation to Pluto, her relation to death, and her ability to create storms, control the weather. And then when it comes to Tiamat, She is also known for controlling the weather, being able to create ice, and even certain poisons, which would make sense because she's related to a dragon, but also can do the opposite, right? Can heal poisons, can calm storms, and bring pain relief. There's actually a prayer to her to bring relief of pain and or any type of suffering. The Great Mother. And this is also, I think, the link to salt and how salt can be so healing and cleansing. Okay, so the goddess, we'll see if there's a goddess of the day. We'll see what it says. I'm using the Goddess Companion from Patricia Monahan. And we have... Oh, so before I get into this, as I'm kind of pre-reading it, we have Breed, or Bright, or as many call her, Brigid. And Brigid also relates to Oya. They share a lot of common similarities, and there are descriptions of Breed looking reddish brown with reddish hair and dark eyes. And fiery dark eyes. Okay? And the other one. Oh, and Kalalia, who I did a video on a couple months ago. It seems like a couple months ago. It could have been longer. She's known as a fire goddess. And she's also described as being very dark skinned with one eye and having many magical powers and relating to the afterlife and to winter. Okay, so in this book, December 25th, it says, "Hail, lovely sun, praise you for rising, praise you for dawning. Yesterday we shivered in darkness while you were trapped in the mountains. Now you rise light as a silver bird. Always rise like this, goddess. Always come back to us like this, bringing us health and safety, bringing the game to our arrows, the fish to our fishhooks. Journey now in peace, go around the earth in safety, travel in joy, O goddess." This is a Finnish. The story of the sun goddess who returns from us during the winter, only to return again after the solstice passes, appears in many cultures. In Finland, the sun was stolen from her place in the sky by the witch of winter, fierce Louhi. She in turn had been tricked by a heroic smith and his companion, a great poet, into giving the sun maiden up so that the world could be saved from the darkness and cold. When the sun rose again after her captivity, the poet Venominen sang the above song to her. It captures the relief we all feel as we begin to see the light increase after the solstice. However small the increments at the beginning, within a month the growth in light will be noticeable. For now, it is enough to know we are on our way out of the darkness. That's pretty interesting. I don't like the story about whatever. Thank you for that story. Well, thank you for being here today. Do a little bit more sound before I jump off the recording of the video, and then share it. So again, happy Kristalla, great goddess, and the resurgence of the Great Mother's love. All right, here comes the singing bowl, so you might want to turn down if you're listening with headphones or anything like that. May you be protected, guided, sheltered, encouraged by the Great Mother. Until next time, take care.